Shalom, shalom, shalom to all of you, my father's children. We are witnessing a change. I'm telling you, we're going through a change. With these wars, and we can also see the change with this weather. And it is in line with our scriptures. When we look at, I've been telling people, we're in the last days. When you study biblical prophecy, there are several things that the Messiah says that we have to keep our eye on to know what time it is. And of course, most people know the big two, which is what? Wars and rumors of wars and weather patterns, storms, earthquakes in diverse places, hurricanes of winds. Now, before you all keep saying, Morehyosh has always been like that. I know that's what y'all gonna say. A lot of you all are new to the Awakening Remnant Coalition, by the way. I'm Dr. Yoshiyahu Dawid Ben Israel, and I am Moreh at the Awakening Remnant Coalition. That's what the ARK stands for, ARK, Awakening Remnant Coalition. And our mission, our job here on planet Earth is to try in these last days to wake up the house of Israel, the bloodline descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, primarily, and companions who have been scattered throughout the slave trade worldwide, according to the scriptures. As we wake up to the truth, we are part of helping to wake up the remnant and also to encourage the house of Israel, encourage the remnant. And every now and then we come with admonitions, and this is one video for that. As I said, the big two. That you would look at the wars, and you see that the wars are amping up. That the wars are not calming down; they're getting worse. And another thing that we will see would be these strange weather patterns. So we'll talk about the war and the weather. I want to mention to everyone that is in harm's way. You know the hurricane is coming, get out the way. I know it doesn't matter how you have to pack your car, do whatever you need to do. It is better safe than to be sorry. It's better to get out and find higher ground somewhere than it is to just try to take your chance on it. Now, you do what you want, but I don't think that, matter of fact, I know there is nothing in the house, nothing in the garage, there's nothing in the back shed that is worth one Israelite, Hebrew Israelite life. And so, of course, my recommendation is to get out. It's going to be bad. The way they predict it, they said it's going to be bad. So please get out and find safety somewhere. Find safety somewhere and weather the storm. Once it's over, then you can wait it out. Once it's over, then obviously you can return. And then if things are messed up, then go to work and you can help put things back together. Make sure you take water. More than anything else, you need water. I've given you guys that 3-30 rule, right? So we know about 3 minutes, 3 days, and 30 days. So that second one, which is those 3 days, that's that water. You want to have water. That's number one. And then of course you all know just simple foods, and you can make it. You can make it. And I'm praying for you. Okay. So I wanted to put that out, not only on my behalf, but on behalf of all the Israel that's praying for our people that are in this storm. Now, let me say something. People have been talking about the intensity of these storms and how they're coming back to back. People have even brought up the fact that they follow the slave routes. Of course they do, because it's the trade wind route. And of course, the way these storms are wreaking havoc at the same time that the wars in the world are amping up, at the same time that Israel's waking up to truth, at the same time that all of the falsehoods of the world are being exposed. It lets us know that when all the pieces start fitting together, we're living in the last days. So we've never had to live in these days before like this. So there's a few things we need to do. And I'm gonna keep this video short on purpose because I want to make sure it gets up to encourage people to find safety. These things and these patterns, these the weather, the earthquakes, the floods, the droughts, all these things that's happening at a rapid pace, I believe is biblical, and as a result, I don't believe there's nothing anyone can do to stop them. I ain't even gonna get into that conversation of how they originate, who's doing it or not, based on Torah, Abaya, that the weather and things like that is under his control. It is a marker of the last days. But since we were warned about it, then we should do what we can to be prepared when that happens. Again, I had a chance to listen to a brother earlier today who was basically saying the same thing I'm saying, and that was there's nothing in the house worth staying for. Put whatever you can in the car and get in and get yourself to some kind of safety. All right, just do that and make sure you have clean water. Okay, the video though, I want to take a little deeper. If the climate has gone through a change and this is going to become, for some people, this is going to be more of the norm than of the exception. This might be a time where you might need to start making some very, very tough decisions about where you're going to live. All right? It don't have nothing to do with a lack of faith. It don't have nothing to do with not trusting in our bayar. It has to do with if the weather patterns are changing and you know you're living in harm's way, it may be time to start making the hard decisions for you. And if you have a family, for your family, because this might become the new normal. And not every place in this world or in these United States, not every place has the same level of threat when it comes to these natural disasters. I'm not saying places are exempt. I'm just saying some places are not as prone, like say Florida and that whole Atlanta, Alabama, that whole area down there, the whole Gulf area, all the way to Houston. This might be a time when people start thinking of making changes. And while people say, "Well, I'm comfortable and all that," I mean, I'm just making a suggestion that you think about it, especially if it's going to be something that it looks like these patterns are going to be something that seem to be sort of permanent now, like a part of our lives. It's part of what we got to deal with. So making changes will help. Number 2, knowing that these things are happening like that, as I said this on yesterday, or maybe earlier today, you need to invest in some other land somewhere, and it hope prayerfully somewhere high out of flood zone or somewhere away from these terrible weather patterns, somewhere far enough away that if you just needed to go somewhere for a couple of days and you couldn't find another place to stay or you didn't have relatives. Now, let me preface it with this. If you got family and friends and relatives all over that you can go to, what I'm saying, right, you can or can't, you take it with a grain of salt because you got a place to go. But this is primarily for a lot of people who just might not have that luxury. I've been looking online. There are affordable places even now. Or you can just invest. If you can buy a car, you can get a piece of property. If you can buy a watch, these Rolex watches and stuff, and these $1,000 purses and shoes and all kind of designer whatever, you can get a house. You can get land, and it it whether you develop it fully or not, that's up to you. But at least having something that you can get out the city. The city, I don't believe, is going to be for the Israelites. I think the city is getting ready to be a place where we probably, I'm talking about the big cities, where we probably ought not, uh, we may need to look somewhere different other than just the major cities if these type of things are going to continue to happen. Um, find something in the country. I'll talk about this in a moment in another video. This is just a video that I wanted to put out talking about, this storm and this weather and these wars, and I got to keep it short. So hopefully it can upload today. Um, don't let people talk you out of doing something like that. One, you can never lose doing it because even if you don't develop it, it's an investment. You're not going to lose anything on it. And if you ever decide to do something, there's all kind of ways to start. You can find a place. You can go on any kind of marketplace or Facebook or just look anywhere, and you can find like a travel trailer. You can find a fifth wheel, or just go down to U-Haul and get a ball put on your car, and get a small trailer that you can just put some things in and drive up and be able to take care of yourself for a little while. I know that there's a lot of Israelites that's waking up to truth. Another thing that we may want to look at in the future, and again, I'm not talking about people that's rich and got money and can do whatever they want. I'm talking about those of us on a regular grind and struggling. Um, don't laugh at that whole tiny home thing. Yeah, that tiny home idea is not a bad idea if you're just starting out. Where you just get a little tiny home, put it on your property, and for the most part, it gives you a place to live, and it's cheap. They're pretty cheap. If you can't, if you can't afford to build a house, I know that some people have actually even converted some of the Home Depot sheds and some of those sheds at Lowe's. I've seen some people actually convert those into a room or a house that is a temporary shelter, and they can live in it while they actually build the house. So that's something to think about in the future if you do live in some of these high populated population centers, these cities, so that if you do need to bug out, you need to bug out. Now, I'm not going to do this video on like all the other things that's possible. Just remember to get out of harm's way for now. But remember these patterns. This may become more permanent than it is temporary. So therefore, we need to start thinking in terms some of us might need to start thinking in terms of making some major um, decisions, especially about getting out of out of these storms, the harm's way, because they are wreaking havoc. Uh, we're praying for you. We're praying for you. One love, Zion. Be safe. Trust Yah and keep looking up.